So we have something called the Edison Daniels Lecture. So those who have been part of the alumni programs for many years would have enjoyed this program. So it's basically for someone from the alumni to speak something about themselves, something about what they do, something which we can reflect upon. So it has been a really fun event that we've been looking for. So for today, we have John Chetri from the batch of 1990. Can you give a round of applause to him? Yeah. Some fun things about John Sunil Chetri. So he was the school captain for football. He loves a lot of games, and he was a school captain for multiple sports. And so I was talking to some of his colleagues, his classmates, to see what kind of person John Chetri was. So his love language to his fellow batchmates was to give a kotu on the head. So please don't do such things, okay? He used to do that. And one fun thing about him was if people are speaking to him or he's maybe somewhere in the school or playground or anywhere, suddenly he will start to go into a prayer mode. So he'll be like, into some prayer zone. So people will say, okay, fine, he's praying, let's not while him, and they'll walk away. So he was known to be that kind of a person. He was quite good in studies. No? Okay, he's saying he was not in good studies. So he has come with his wife and son. I think his son's in 7th standard right now. Yeah. So John is ministering, he's ministered in 4 different countries, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and also India. He's spent around 25 years in the ministry. So you know that a person who spends so much of time in the ministry has a real passion for God. So we'd like to welcome John Chetri to come out here and to share what he has to say for us today. Welcome, John.
Okay. I should say rather good evening, because if Edison sir was here, he's very particular when you say good afternoon and when you say good evening. So looking into my watch, it's time enough to say good evening. It's good to see all of you, some of my batchmates, some of my juniors, some of my akkas, and the current students. The topic I choose for today is Dear Teachers, Our Treasures. Okay, so dear teachers, our treasures. Before that, I just wanted to tell you, as I was watching the musical team perform the song, SV has come a long way from when we were here. I used to play the bass guitar. We only had a lead guitar, bass guitar, rhythm, and the drum, that's it. And our drum was, you can just imagine, not the fancy drum you have right now. Okay, our drum made less of a noise, of a music and more of a noise. And that is all that we had, and we tried to do our best. From that now, looking almost like seeing an orchestra play out, it was an amazing feeling. Indeed, SV has come a long way. I chose the topic, Dear Teachers, Our Treasures, as a way of giving tribute to our teachers, because I felt that Ruby Jubilee, when many retired teachers are coming back, would be the best time for me to pay tribute to them. Even though I'm speaking, I believe I'm speaking for all of the alumni. First of all, this morning, there was a dance, and the music of the dance really surprised me. I did not expect that music to be played, because it was a music played in Nepali music, basically. Me and my two brothers, we 3 Chetri brothers were the first Nepali ethnic students in SV then. We didn't have anybody before. So after 40 years, all the way down in SV, almost in the tip of Kanyakumari, to hear your own language and the music was kind of a shocker to me, but very glad nonetheless. But surprised that it was played here even in SV. So I'm curious to know what was the story behind. But I also heard that there are few Nepali students here, so would definitely like to meet up with you and talk if you are available. It is good coming back home. Indeed, this is our home, and it's indeed good to come back after many years. As I was traveling here from Tuticorin Airport, now what you call Tuticorin, not Tuticorin. We used to call Tuticorin then. Now it's called Tuticorin. I hope pronounced correctly. So many memories came flooding by. I visited Tuticorin long ago in 1987 when Dula's ship was docked at the shipyard. And I still remember the physics lesson on the way. We visited a science lab, and our science teacher, Pondra sir, gave us a lesson. There was this, a science test lab where it was a slope built, and from the top you drop a round ball of the same size, one made of iron and one made of wood. And you drop it at the same time, and they both, in spite of the differences in weight, would fall at the same time to the ground. And I still remember Pondra sir telling us, you know why is this? And we said, why? And he said, because when it's falling, the round object, the gravity is zero, therefore they fall at the same time. And I have not forgotten it since 1987. Visiting Dula's ship, we were mesmerized by its gigantic size and its intricacies. Book was the least of our concern, even though the school took us there to see the books. Coming through Valiyur reminded me of early morning darkness, waiting for the bus with the teammates traveling to various places to take part in either athletics or football competitions. The hills of Jambulingam and his exploits, as he was known as the Robin Hood of Yarkad. Its stories brought to life in a very dramatic fashion by none other than our own Edison sir, whom we lovingly used to call Teddy. The emptiness of once mighty lake that nestled in the foothills of Yarkadu almost brought tears to my eyes because the whole lake was empty. The water has disappeared. But that lake is very memorable to us because every year we would go across from there on our walk. As we inch closer to Donaur, the bus stand and the lake that we used to call it pond, with or without water, which in our time, now there is no water in it, but in our time, it was our swimming pool. Even Pondra sir mentioned that. And we were so happy to take a dip into that, full of delight. We never thought about how clean the water was. Of course, it was so clean, when you dip your hand 1 inch under the water, your hand completely disappeared. No, but we enjoyed the swimming pool. The bus stand where we got down from the bus coming back from home. Those days we didn't have fancy suitcases and luggage. All we had was trunk. Probably, I don't know if today's students understand what trunk is. Trunk. Oh, you still have the trunk. Okay. So very famous SV trunk. You almost felt like as we are hauling it into the train, like you are a military personnel assigned to your job and going. So we would haul the trunk back on our back and drag it all the way to SV. Those days we didn't have any ride. I don't know if they have now. Do you still carry it on your back, or is there some transportation? Still carry it? Yes, that's the old SV way. The hospital, still the same. Only the entrance was changed this time. So almost felt when I came to the hospital, the time stood still on its gate. People usually despised hospitals, but for the SVNs, I don't know if it's the same today, it was the most loved place to escape classes. Same, see? Yeah. If we got opportunity to visit hospital, we embraced it with both hands because it means not submitting assignment because we had not completed it. No clap, see? Yeah. So some of us wanted to deliberately get sick, and we used all the method to get sick. Or sometimes we even pretended to get sick so that we could go to the hospital and not to the classroom. Because late assignment means, spanking. I don't know you have that or not anymore. Maybe not, So my elder brother, I would like to take, I don't want to take other people's name. So my elder brother, who was 1 year senior to me, and his friends, let's not name them, was able to sneak some onions out of the canteen because we used to go and vandi, get the food. The vandi that's here is the vandi of our era. So that's more than 30 years old vandi. Yeah. And there was a rumor going on that if you split the onion into half and put it in your armpit and go to sleep at night, so that means they know it. Yeah, see. On your armpit and go to sleep at night, in the morning you would come out with heavy fever and high temperature, which means going to the hospital once again and escaping class. But my brother woke up in the morning with a temperature only to find out the onion had rolled away from his armpits in the middle of the night. He was so disappointed that he couldn't make it to the hospital that morning. And coming back from the hospital, we would take the tiniest step and the slowest step, as slow as a tortoise, because we want to consume as much time as we can and not be here at the earliest time possible. See, they are nodding their head, so they understand what I'm saying. The clock tower that told us when we got our break and when it's time to eat. Especially when the clock hits close to the lunchtime, we are all hungry. Our classroom was the old building, and we have that massive window there. So all the time, all we do is peep out of the window, try to see the long hand etching closer to the time. You do the same still? Yes. And as it gets closer, it becomes slower. You feel like, the clock, the hand is not moving at all. So because the Big Ben reminded us of our daily chores. We used to call it the Big Ben. And that was our time. We never had a watch in those days. I don't know if you have watch now. So when the clock strikes, that it told us what time it was. And then the overreaching arc of SV, that marked the friendly environment, that made entry into where we would meet friends and have fun. I don't know, many of us even remember what we studied. I don't know if we remember much about studies, but we remember our friends by name, our teachers by name. And after 35 years, we still bond together as friends. I met my classmate after 33 years, and it seems like we have never missed a day. We picked it up where we left. That is the bonding, the relationship we had as friends here in SV. Because I'm just coming from another alumni meet, so, I don't know now, but those days we didn't have phones, we didn't have computer. We prayed for computers, and you are enjoying it. We never got to enjoy that. So all we did was sit where the hand pump is and talk, or go to the box room. I don't know if you have the box room anymore. Sit in the box room and share snacks bought from home, or our best place of chit chat was morning waiting in the line outside the toilet, and that's where we have a lot of our conversation. Okay, so we bonded very close. We spent a lot of time talking with each other. Thank God there was no mobile phones in those days, because the Gen Zs today can be together but can be so far away from each other. I'm sure that's not the case with you all. No, I want to say thank you to Uncle Bala Singh and others who envisioned SV as a school for missionary kids whose parents were far-flung into the most remotest part of India, with almost no proper education opportunities, and I'm one of them. When my parents moved from Nepal to India in 1985 as an IEM missionary to West Bengal, in a very remote village, trying to find a school for our education was failure. We couldn't find one. And if it was not for SV, we would not be where we are today. SV provided that backbone, that educational platform to be where we are today. And we want to thank, there are multiple of us, many of us with the same situation. Without SV, we did not have any hope. And in fact, it was SV that gave us all a hope and a future. Sports were such a joy that when we played football, we felt like we were Maradonas. We were Gary Linekers. Maybe the young generation won't know these names. Or Michael Platini, or Ruud Voller, or what we'd call of today Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi and of those. And those who stood between the posts, we felt like we were like Michael Schumacher or Pompidou. We would run like Carl Lewis or Ben Johnson or Edwin Moses in sports meet. We sang like Sir Cliff Richard, but in our time he was only known as Cliff Richard, or Abba or Carpenter or Glenn Campbell. And who can forget the slow and heavy voice of Jim Reeves? Do we still have Jim Reeves today? Do we still play? Does the school still play Jim Reeves songs? No. See, they're forgotten. Okay, Jim Reeves songs for what? For our morning PT exercise. Imagine that song. Slowest song. This world is not mom. And we're going 1, 2, 3, 4. So it was very difficult to keep the rhythm of the song and the rhythm of the exercise. But nonetheless, we did it anyway. Pumping water in the hand pump and taking bath at the same time. Only an SVN can do it. I don't know if the girls could do it, but we would stand under the pump, hold, and the water, So only the SVN, we applied all these techniques. But above all else, what is etched in our memories are the precious teachers who took a lot of efforts to not only teach us, but also love and care for us when we are so far away from our family, our parents, and our loved ones. I'd like to mention few things about few teachers. There are many things to talk about, but few things. Pondra sir, one morning, coming for devotion, in a rainy day, we saw him coming across the banyan tree because we were in that building, and he didn't have his umbrella. He was fully drenched, and we wondered why he forgot to bring his umbrella. Only to later find out from Mary ma'am, who told us that when she asked him to take his umbrella, his response was, "My children walk in the rain, so do I." You may have never known that one day, that one gesture alone taught me more than anything I learned in the classroom. And I try to apply that even today in my life. Or for example, when I was in 10th standard, I was a very slow learner. I was a back bencher, the last bench. Not even the last, those who are last benches, we know who we are, right? Very slow learners, okay? But be careful, those slow learners can go on to become a very smart guy. One of them was President APJ Abdul Kalam. So he was teaching, I was dreaming, okay? Pondra was teaching botany and I was dreaming. And then he asked me, "John, what is monopetal and dipetal?" I had no idea what monopetal, what dipetal was. I wasn't thinking about the class. I was dreaming about the football match after the class. He was so irate and furious, he sent me out of the class for the rest of the period. I've never forgotten for the last 34 years what monopetal and dipetal is after that. Or for that matter, Chinnamma ma'am, we call it Chinnamma miss, who showed me the love and care when I arrived for the first time, coming from very far away, and first time, in a very different environment. When I was eating food in teacher's mess, because we just arrived then, she came over to me and introduced to me herself, and she inquired about how we were doing. Next day, when I went to the class, I was exceedingly glad to know that she was my class teacher. She was strict when needed to be, but gentle and caring. As a little boy, far from home, I knew that there was someone who really loved and cared for me. However, I was heartbroken when the next year she was not my class teacher. One time, while on our tour to Kanyakumari, she saw me looking at those beautiful painted shells, the big ones, and knew that I didn't have money to buy. She came over to me and whispered into my ears, "Choose what you want and I will buy it for you." My Hindi ma'am, I saw her this morning, very loud and very loving at the same time. Loud because she made sure that the last benchers also heard her very clearly, and I was one of them. She seldom got angry, but when she got angry, her voice became louder and her eyes became really wider. But one thing for sure, she taught us with passion. One time when she was teaching us, there was a fruit mentioned, the fruit name was cherry. And she talked about the fruit cherry. We had no idea what fruit cherry. She said, "Aisa lal hota hai, meetha hota hai," and all of that. And she said, "Pata hai, cherry kya hai?" We said, no idea what cherry was. Next time she was out of the campus, she made it sure to buy a packet of cherry fruit, bring it to the class, and give it to every one of us so that we would identify ourselves with cherry. And I've never forgotten cherry fruit ever since. Joyable Miss, my math class, was a personality of her own. Very loving, very caring, but nobody can forget her pinch. Yeah. But then she taught us with passion. I don't know if any one of you met Joyable Miss. Edison sir, I know, whom we fondly and lovingly used to call Teddy. He knew how to blend with young people. Even though he was much older than us in age. He played football with us and he was with us. We used to go to his room, sit down there, listen to music. Many times we felt that he was more like our elder brother than a teacher. He was very intense about teaching us etiquettes and mannerisms. Some of his famous quotes. He used to say, "Don't chew with your mouth open like cow. You idiot. Chew with your mouth closed." Every time he would sit in the chair and he would look at all of us and he would see who is opening the mouth and chewing. So ever since, I forgot how to open my mouth when I'm chewing. And another thing he used to tell us every time in the don't drop food crumbs on the floor. Very particular about that. And then he was also very particular about how we pronounce English. He always wanted us to be perfect. I remember one time, one of my classmates pronounced creator as creature. And then he gave us a whole class a good dressing down. He said, "You fools, you idiots, how many times I have told you it's not creatures, it's creator." He gave us the class, he gave us the dialogue on how to pronounce it. He was very particular about it. That's why when I was asked to give this Edison Daniel lecture and knew that that time they said he might come, I was pretty much worried because he would be sitting there trying to correct my mistake too. And every Sunday, Edison sir taught us a new song. Those days I didn't understand how difficult and challenging it was for him to learn a new song and teach us. We took it for granted. Later on, I realized every Sunday trying to teach a new song for the 5 years that I was here. Imagine 1 year, 4 Sundays an average every month. So imagine how many Sundays in a 12 month. How many Sundays in 60 months? You can just imagine. And he would teach us every Sunday a new song. That is the passion that he had, And now when I think about that, hats off to him. No, I'm sure he must be learning every week a new song just to come and teach us. And he was teaching us guitar, he was teaching choir, he was all over the place doing everything, the plays, everything. We didn't have these facilities. For us, during the Parents' Day and a Christmas celebration, the boys' dormitory, we were here, the senior boys. All the boys' dormitory in the center where we have our beds used to be all removed, aside. And that was our hall. And we used to make a stage and then perform everything there. We didn't have this luxury then. In my travel, I had the opportunity to meet friends in Hyderabad or Bangalore or Chennai or Delhi or Chandigarh or even friends outside of our border. They all have one thing to say. It was our days in SV that laid the foundation of our lives, not just in career pursuit, but also in spiritual endeavors. Almost everyone, exception of few, says that it was in SV that the foundation of our faith was laid strong, and to this day we hold them very close to our hearts. When we were put through the grinding mill is the extra classes even during the holidays. Do you have them still now? Yes. Every holidays, I do not know what is the situation, but in our time, there were 2 teachers known for extra classes, Rita ma'am and Joyable ma'am. It was the science and the math. Same? Yeah, science and the math. There were times when we didn't like it, and there were times when we were very angry. No, we didn't enjoy it at all because we said at least in our holiday, we wanted to rest and play football. But once out into the world, we realized the importance of hard work. I want to tell the young people especially, faith in God and hard work is the key to success. Success does not come easy. Success does not come without hard work. Every ounce of energy you put towards hard work now is every opportunity for success you create in the future. Okay? Or on the other hand, every minute you lose now is every opportunity you lose in the future. So don't complain when you are put through the grinding mill because they are preparing you for your success. This is the last paragraph. We can never compensate for our teachers' dedication, hard work, and sacrifices they have made for all of us. All I can say from all of us is a big thank you. The worldly rewards you might not have gained, but for certain heavenly rewards you have lost not. One day in heaven, when we all stand before God, you will be able to see the impact you have made, of which you have no idea at the moment. And hear the Lord say to you, "Well done, my child." Thank you to the teachers. We love you very much.